Today we're talking about how to eliminate gossip and drama in your offices. Who doesn't want that? Me. There are many ways you can go about this, and today we're just going to talk about doing it with communication rules because that's what's worked best in my practice. And it has worked so well that we really haven't had to do much else to eliminate drama and gossip. So although it's some work, I think it's absolutely worth it. So let's talk through this just a little bit. As you all know, most of us have teams of pretty much entirely women, and there are some tremendous advantages to that because we are women, so we understand women, but there are also some disadvantages. Do any of you have a team member that seems to come with drama and or gossip? Like no matter what you try, there's always something stirring. Well, we all likely have at least one of those in our office, and that's because that's how feminine beings are wired. It is actually programmed into us to bring a little bit of gossip and drama with us. And unless we are made aware of what we are doing and provided with an alternative, it will actually continue. Here's the reason for that. The feminine, or women, in general, everything I'm going to say is in general, are community builders, meaning that we share and vent and warn for the protection of the community. What that has turned into in modern day society, so we don't actually have to warn people about the poisonous berries around the corner or the lion that's lurking in the woods over there, is that we talk to other women in order to convey whatever information we think is important to our safety. But these days, that's the safety of our ego, not usually of our physical body, because we're not usually too worried about poisonous berries or lions. We are actually trying to protect our self-image from threats. And that is where gossip and drama generally originate. And I don't want to make anybody wrong for communicating this way. It is actually the way we're wired to communicate, but there are better ways. And so we just have to teach people better ways. The way gossip or drama works is someone approaches someone else and is like, well, I'm going to tell you something about someone else that makes them look bad and or me look really good so that I have a higher standing in your eyes and will not be ousted from the group. Because back in the good old caveman days, ousting meant death. And so when individuals are behaving in this manner, although there's the rare individual who just wants to hurt people, that is not actually the general reason why it's happening. When people are talking about other people, saying things that are not the nicest things about other people, they are literally simply protecting their ego. That is all they're doing, right? So how do we combat this natural instinct that can completely wreak havoc on the culture of your office? Talk about a way to erode trust and cause a toxic culture. Well, gossip brewing around everywhere is for sure doing that. So one method that's worked well for me is to implement communication rules in my practice, which is a set of guidelines that everyone is held accountable to that nips gossip and drama in the bud. Basically, there's zero tolerance for it. And we've empowered the entire team to hold each other accountable to this so that it's not just me and Dina, my partner, having to police everybody on this. Everybody polices everybody else. Whenever I talk about rules or guidelines, some people interpret that to mean we could just write all these things down on a piece of paper, have everybody sign off on it, and ta-da! But that is not how this works. It is not as simple as posting a piece of paper with a set of rules or guidelines and just telling everyone, you must follow these rules. No one ever bought into change that way, and it isn't going to start now in your office. You are not special. If you want the team to buy into something as dramatic as changing the way you communicate on a day-to-day basis, you first have to get buy-in from the team. So you need to explain to them in a way that will resonate with them what's in it for them. Why is this a good change for them? People are selfish. That's okay. Cater to it. Tell them what's in it for them. You also, once you've come up with what your communication rules are going to be, and I'll help you with that in a second, you are going to have to learn and model those rules yourself because you have to be the shining example of this. And then you're going to have to teach your team one at a time. You cannot do all of these at once, where they have an opportunity to ask questions, to role play, and everybody gets a chance to practice and then come back and talk about it again. And you keep doing that until you master one of these rules that you come up with before you add on the next one. In our office, we have 8 communication rules. It took probably almost 18 months the very first time I ever introduced them to get everybody to sort of understand and be doing their best at all of them. And that's okay. We have an abundance of time. One thing you do need to know is you will be talking about this forever if you decide to do this. And this is a good thing. None of us have the same team from start to finish, like start of our career to end of our career. It isn't going to happen. So there will always be turnover, sometimes way more than we like. And so new people are always entering in to this cool culture that you've built that has no drama and gossip. And people that come in will also now have to learn why you guys do things differently and how you do them differently, and have to be brought into this culture of happiness and positivity and teamwork where there is no gossip and drama over time. And yes, that causes hiccups and there'll be a drop sometimes and you'll pull it back up, but you will be talking about this forever. I promise it's worth it. Since I've implemented this, I have never been happier at work, and it is wicked awesome all the time. Okay. So what's the benefit of this to you? Well, when you teach your team how to communicate in a positive, respectful way, you do change culture, which means your team in general is happier at work. That means they're more likely to do their best, which means productivity goes up. People are far less likely to stand around doing nothing. And your patients will actually feel the difference too, and they'll comment on it, which means it's also a way to increase your internal marketing. We get comments in the office all the time about how much we like each other. Oh, isn't it great? You guys seem like you're just working with your best friends. And although this is correct that we like each other because this type of communication fosters that relationship, it is also because of the way we choose to communicate. They only hear positivity and support come out of our mouths. That sets us apart from anybody else. Now, you can establish whatever communication rules you like. And I did not come up with mine all by myself. Actually, I've come up with very few original ideas myself. I learned from other people who've done it, perfected it, mastered it, and then I do what they did. My book for communication rules is called The Happiness Centered Practice by Dr. Paddy Lund. He's a dentist in Australia, and he was the first person I saw who had like really defined this down into a book. And we took his rules in his book and just modified them slightly to make them work within our practice. And I've seen no reason to change it from where it is over the last 10 years. They're fantastic. So look that up, the Happiness Centered Practice. It might be the Happiness Centered Business. Maybe the word business is, maybe I'm saying that wrong, but it's by Dr. Paddy, P-A-D, Paddy Lund. So look it up. If you can find a way to teach and model effective, positive, respectful communication to your team, it actually changes everything. Because once you have a culture that is living and breathing that, pretty much all your other problems go away for the most part. Change acceptance goes up, teamwork goes up, happiness goes up, productivity goes up. There is no downside to doing this other than, just like anything that's worthwhile, it will take some work from you. You have to come up with them, you have to learn and model them, and you have to teach them. But it's worth it. I'll see you guys next week.